Good morning, everybody. I am just getting ready to jump back into the electric tractor project. I am wandering over to the shop right now. Kind of got a couple of chores done this morning. Not too much. It's a Saturday and I'm kind of excited to try and wire this sucker up today. We'll see what happens. I might be calling my electrician friend. I don't know if he can come over today or anything. I'm gonna try and do this with my last phone call with Steve. I'm gonna try and get ahead of all the things he spoke about. But first of all, I just wanted to kind of show you where I'm at right now. And so I'm just gonna take you into the shop here real quick. All right, here we are. I got the fire rolling, getting warmed up. I did that battery weld up, or I mean that battery box aluminum welding. First time I've ever done that. That was exciting. So right now I'm trying to think about this whole battery situation, right? Because right here is going to be my most positive, and right here is going to be my most negative of the 72 volt battery. And so what that means is I have to figure out a couple of things. One is how I'm going to get from this positive down to this negative underneath here. I've got the 3 battery stack, and I think I'm going to do that by, there's a little channel right there where I can send the 2 big fat battery wires through. The problem with it is that this unit is going to lift off, this part's going to stay, so it has to be attached pretty, however I route these wires, it's got to be attached pretty close to this aluminum battery box, which is why in the end I decided to go with the tighter style rather than the poly style. So I'm trying to figure that out this morning, and I'm trying to get my wire lengths done. I'm over here. I'm pretty much done with fabricating, I think. I'm over here just doing some soldering. I've got my BMS wires all laid out here. I got a couple of them extended, and then I realized I don't need to extend all of them. So now what I'm trying to do is figure out what wires I do need to extend, how that's going to work. And this is the BMS, and that'll sit on, this is the BMS here, and that'll sit on top of the battery itself. And then, you know, over here I've got the contactor and some of the stuff that I can wire up. So I'm basically just trying to figure out what my next step is. And it's hard because it's like I'm fitting it and then pulling it out and then fitting it and then pulling it out. But the good thing is I can pull it all out now and drop it in, but I still have to pull it all out and drop it in a few more times in order to make sure that the BMS all goes together, that the wires are tight enough against the aluminum battery box so that it drops in okay. So there's just like a lot of head scratching and figuring right now that's going on. And I'm trying to figure out the ways that I do the quick connects for a couple of different things so that I can move it from one tractor to the other, like my original plan is. Even if I'm not doing that for a while, I want to be able to know that I'm just unbolting 4 bolts, pulling the Anderson plug and lifting it out. That's like the big goal. So I'm trying to make sure I think through all that instead of have to redo something later. So it takes time. So anyway, first things first is I'm going to lift this battery out. I tested it last night by just putting it like an inch off of the bottom of where it sits. So in case it did fall, it would just drop into place. So I just put tension on it because I wanted to make sure my welds held, that the 150 pounds of batteries inside of the box was all going to stay together okay. And so now I'm just going to lift it out. It's all on chain right now. I'll lift it out so that I can get to the motor underneath, and I'm going to go to do that. All right, now that I've got that lifted up and measured, I was just looking at these 3 batteries here, or these 3 cells, I should say, here, and how I'm gonna get them to go up to here, because I gotta go from here, down around the corner, down below and over, and then I gotta go to this black. Then I'll bust those 2 together, and I'll bust these 2 together here. And then I'll run a wire from that one underneath, back up to this one, right? Let's see, go red to black. Yeah, so red to black here. So then that one, then I'll bust these, all the way down, all the way back, and then all the way down, and then that'll be the most positive right there. And then that will connect into the contactor, which mounts about right there. The contactor sends a signal over to the controller, which is right here. So I think I have that mapped out now, in my head at least. All right, well, I just did a little bit of research and I could not find anything that'll quite work for this to wrap around the edge. So I'm kind of thinking that I can take one of my bus bars and I can bend it, and then I can connect the battery lug to a bus bar, because I'll have a couple extra, and that should do it. And then I'll just shrink wrap this end here together so it's all nice and tight and insulated. So I think that's what my plan is going to be to go forward. It's really hard to kind of visualize this without bolting it all together, but I also don't want to bolt it together and like have basically wires that are hanging out that are connected to battery cells right now. So I'm just trying to think it through first, and then I will get into it. So a couple cool things came in the mail. I don't know if you can see this, but on the end of that there is this is the throttle, and I got a guitar potentiometer knob, and it goes to 11. I've got lots of wires to make. I got some 6-gauge stuff. I got some 7-gauge, or no, I got some 6-gauge stuff. I got some 1/0. I got some 20-gauge stuff. But I'm doing wires right now, so we'll continue on that little project. So now I got my big bundle of wires. I just finished soldering them up. I'm gonna see if I can set it on top and just generally reach to see if it'll make it down around the corners and down to where I need it to go. This is the BMS wires. So I extended, let's see, I extended 9, 10, and 11 because that's the ones that have to reach down and around. So let's see if it worked. So I know that from the center, those 8 will reach, which tells me really this is 9. This should be 9 at least. Yep. 9 is going to have to go down. Oh yeah, tons of room. 9, 10, and 11 all are going to work. Okay, maybe too much room. Okay, so I got the BMS board here. I don't know if I can squat down. I don't know if you can see me. Here's a BMS board. I'm going to set it like about right here. And I can just kind of hold this and go boom, boom, boom. This is going to reach all of those. So the only ones I had to extend, I didn't even have to extend nearly as long as I did. And these 2 here, I'm going to actually have to cut. So there's that. I'm having a hard time visualizing how the shunt, which is coming, is the, it comes off, it goes battery from the negative side, then it goes into the shunt, and then the shunt goes back to the amp meters, and it gives all the information that I need to run the battery and all that stuff through the controller, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I don't understand it real well, but that's the shunt's there. And so what I'm thinking I'm gonna do, and I'm waiting to hear back from Green Shed if it's okay, is I'm gonna run a cable, a big heavy battery cable down and over here, and I'm gonna mount it onto a little piece of that red poly board that I've got. I'm gonna mount a piece right there, and then I'm gonna run that back up and into the actual controller. So anyway, that's my plan right now. I'm hoping it works. I'm just kind of waiting to hear back right now. The width of this bolt might be the difference between whether it slides into the cavity or not. So I'm gonna put a tape measure on it really quick and see what I think. So I might have to like make some special bolts or mount it one way or the other or something. I'm not sure. This distance is exactly 12.25. I'll give it 12.5. So we need 12.5 to the inside. Oh yeah, we got 13.75. So we got over 1.5 inches. So there should be plenty of room for that to slip in there. Well, only thing I can do right now is mount it, cross my fingers, and drop it in. Put it in, I take it out. 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 And then I weld something, and then I pull something out, and then I don't think it works, then I weld something, then I do it, then it does work, and now we got a battery box. So that's pretty cool. And all my BMS wires are measured. Now I'm trying to figure out where the shunt goes. And probably get this chain out of the way before it does a DC arc flash. That would be fun. Let's not do that. Yeah, yep. I think I'm gonna have to cut a little bit of this tin back here, just back maybe 2 inches or so. And that'll give me room to stuff more cables down. That's kind of the cable run is down and around that way. It's really the hardest part. I mean, it wouldn't be so hard if I was just trying to make one tractor, but I'm trying to make this modular to pull out so I could put it in multiple tractors and save money that way. So I'm just going to take a little more fabricating. I'll bust that out right now. Okay. I think that got it. Who is it?
Dad's here.
Oh, hi. I'm trying to figure out this whole situation here where, so I made the panel and then I'm going to mount the shunt like that. And then I also thought I would have enough room to mount a couple other things if I wanted to, if it works. So that's kind of what I'm figuring out right now. Well, I have got my wire ready now. Got my shunt on there. I think I am going to go down to the hardware store and maybe get a longer post. But anyway. Yeah. So I'm just going to cut this guy. And this is tricky. This is 1/0. Many people call it 1/0, but also apparently they call it 1/0 sometimes, and sometimes people can get confused at what you're talking about. So I usually say I need 1/0 or 1/0. And usually people look at me like I'm an idiot, but I'd rather be clear so I don't mess up what I'm doing. You know? Beautiful. My mother always says, beautiful, fucking beautiful. I'm just gonna heat this guy up till he melts. Get all that mixed around in there. There's some kind of like flux or something I think that's in it also. But now the hard part. Now that is a beautiful thing right there. Boom, got my shunt cable. Okay, I just ran to the store and let's see. So I just ran to the store and grabbed a couple of things so that I can finish this mounting of the shunt. Over here on this side, I got these cables wired up. It's looking pretty sweet. I'm excited. Grab that can and get to work. I got this can right now. No Bad Days, India Pale Ale, Barrel Mountain Brewing, Battleground, Washington. I love this beer. These guys are awesome. I wish they would sponsor me. Maybe they will after this. Oh, yeah. So yeah, check it out. That's it right there. It's the shunt. I'm gonna mount that, and then that comes up here. And that's gonna go into that terminal there. So that takes information in there, or that takes power in, and it turns it into information across these bars here, and these two leads go up to the controller, and then this continues up to the controller as well. No, 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 no. All right, I'm excited. I'm to the point now where I'm going to start connecting things. The BMS wires are going on, and I'm creating the 72-volt battery. Yikes. Yet exciting, but yikes. All at the same time. Okay, here we go. .2. This is a 112-volt battery right here, basically, is what you're looking at. There, 12 volts. 3.2, 6.4, 9.6. How's that work? 2, 3, 6, 9, 12.7, or whatever it turns out to be. So yeah, so it's going good. I'm just putting on these little guys. Crimping. Not the greatest crimpers in the world, but they work. I kind of want to get a new pair after this project. Maybe I will. Had my beer. Feeling pretty solid. Okay. See, I put this up here so I can set my tools on something so I don't fry myself. All right. Well, there you have it. I've got the battery built. That's pretty freaking amazing. 72 volts, it's ready to go. Now I just have to assemble the controller that goes here, and also the contactor and all the things that go on the inside here. I've got the controller will go here, contactor will go here. I got a throttle here and an on and off switch here. And what else goes in? I think that's it. That'll go on the inside of the dash. I got the shunt down on the other side. I'll be putting a fuse right here that goes in to the controller. And basically, I'm really close right now. So I'm actually gonna take a minute to step away from the battery and the BMS and all of that and work on just the inside of the electronics for the dash. And then I'll basically get my wires ready to plug into the battery, but I won't plug them in yet. And then I got to move on to back over to the motor itself and the motor mount and make sure it's all set inside of the tractor. And I have these quick plugs called Anderson plugs that I want to use to plug the motor into this, but I'm not going to do that until I make sure I know which direction since it's a permanent magnet drive, it's just flipping one plus or minus depending on which one, and I have to figure out which way the motor is meant to start off. Anyways, it's not hard. You're just going to flip it over one way or the other if it's not going the right way. Then once I know that, I'll fit all of the Anderson plug stuff together, and then I'll clip those together, and then it'll be time to do a test drive. So we're a few more days away, but we're closer, getting closer every day. So I'm excited. All right.